if you're in the hospitality industry, does AI worry you?
Embrace it, understand it, and in this video, I'll tell you how we're going to use it in our businesses.
TK,
Yes, mate.
we're going to begin, but you can keep toiling around over there.
Sorry, I don't want to be rude.
No, that's fine. I think it's interesting sort of insight into sometimes how we come up with ideas of what we're going to talk about. The fact that you're just Googling something right now. But
No, I'm trying to get a name of it. I've seen it the other day. Sorry.
So what we want to talk about today...
You know what it's called?
What?
Coffee robot.
Genius. Well done. Wow. That's why you're on the big bucks. What's that robot coffee thing?
What should we call Market Wine Store?
Yeah.
Market Wine Store.
I think we'll leave it right there. It's like when we had Restaurant 2. It's like, what do we call the next one? And everyone's like, call 3.
Oh.
We're like,
Done.
That's a good idea. I remember that day we were sitting upstairs and with the designers, and we were like had the whiteboard out. We were throwing names up there, and the first one up there was 3D. And I was like, pfft. And then we spent hours up there and came back. I was like, yeah, that's right. Anyway, simple things. But we're talking about something that frightens the bejesus out of anyone over the age of about 20, I think, or maybe 30, maybe 40. I'm not really sure.
It excites me, man. I can't wait.
Corey's got new tools that he's using in this realm, and we thought it's something that we should talk about because it is sort of starting to come in general in everyone's life, and will infiltrate a lot of industries, and everyone's sort of talking about it at the moment, which is the A and the I. So, what are you seeing out there at the moment for us as an industry, and what's sort of going on and what's out there apart from coffee robots?
Well, mate, my 2025 for me, and I try and get my big boy pants on here, and at the end of every year, and really try and get a bit of a structure of what we're going to be focusing on for the next year.
Yeah.
And all my focus this year, well, I shouldn't say all my focus, but a big whack of my focus for 2025 is going to be to try and get more technology into our businesses in every single way.
Yeah. And so how does that start? Is it by looking and seeing what's out there and going, yeah, that works for us, or what?
Yeah, just looking and seeing who's doing it well.
Yeah.
Go and have a look if you can.
Yeah.
Be bold. Ask if you can have a look. Ask who they got it from,
Yeah.
or ask a supplier, and then they can say, oh, Peter Marchand's doing it down at blah, 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 and then try and reach out to you and say, do you mind if I come down and have a look at it? So, you've just got to be forward. And for me, we get asked all the time different design questions about our restaurants and said, do you mind if we come around and have a coffee? And I'm like, no problem. Building relationships is really key in our game, and I always say don't be scared of that. But so AI, robotics, but anything we can do to shave a couple of % off our labour, that's where energy is this year.
So where do you think it's going to come from? Like, obviously, the robot thing is kind of something we sort of joke about all the time, but there are restaurants that are doing it now where they're waiters are not being used. They're, your food's coming out in a little trolley.
Corey, should you insert that video of that bar? We went to an izakaya. Is that how you say it?
Izakaya,
yep. And which is a bar that serves a bit of food.
Yep.
And all of our drinks, all of our food came out in robots.
As in they brought it out to you? They weren't preparing it?
No.
Right.
There was a chef in the kitchen, but yeah.
What's the right pronoun for a robot?
I'm not sure. But there's one person behind the bar making the drinks, and they'd put it straight on the robot. The robot would come and find us. We'd use QR code, scan.
To order?
Yeah, because then they knew where the table was.
Yeah.
And then it just flowed out. And it was really good. It was a good experience. I don't think the robot took anything away from it.
Really?
No, because it was fun.
Did you go to the traditional izakaya as well?
No, we were with some locals, and they said this one's really fun, and the food's really good.
So it's I think that's the thing is like, for me right now, there's still that novelty aspect to that kind of thing, and it's like, okay, well that's, like you said, it's fun, but
we didn't go there for the robots.
Yeah.
We went there because the locals who were with said the drinks are great, the food's banging, and then we're like, well, fucking robots. There's like 6 of them scooting around the restaurant.
I think my sort of impression right now is that those are used in very low entry kind of, like, I think the first one I saw here was at the airport.
This joint that we went to, you would definitely go to it because it was, the food and the drinks were fantastic. It was not a lowbrow joint, but it was kind of rice boy-y.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
they're not
suppose
big.
more food.
It's also
focused.
they're not big, right?
No, it was small.
Yeah.
It was probably 150 square meters.
Yeah.
Um,
It's actually bigger than I was thinking.
we were one of probably 50 or 60 people in there drinking.
Okay.
And there's a time and place for it. I totally agree with what you're saying, first and foremost. But we're not talking about going and filling our restaurants up with robots. But what I'm talking about is little things like there's a machine that I'm looking at. So part of the planning is exactly what I said before. Find out who's doing it well.
Yeah.
Try and get as much data, information, what machines, where they come from, how much are they, can they be serviced, that sort of shit on the coast. Because Sunshine Coast is a small place, right?
We're regional, yeah.
So there's that challenge to overcome. But we're taking it to the next level. I'm going to a trade show in Chicago this year, the world's biggest restaurant and hotel trade show. I'm going to go there with the very specific aim to go straight to their AI stuff, their robotics, their machinery stuff. I know one supplier there is doing a machine for pizza where you basically take the dough, you make the dough, you hydrate it to whatever you want it, you ferment it, but then you put the dough into a hopper and it spins the it spins the pizza balls out to the ball. Because what we do, we make the dough, then we prove it, we bring it out of the fridge, we prove it again, we cut the dough, we weigh it into the right little, we call them pucks.
Yep.
They're balls about so big. And then from there, that proves up, and then to order, we roll them out.
Hand rolled, yeah.
So just that process alone before you start rolling the pizza base out is hours and hours and hours of work, not including the time it takes to ferment it and prove it. But so there's a machine where we can put the dough in there and it spits the balls out. It rolls it through a machine and then what comes out is this perfectly cut, weighed and rolled ball that then we put into the trays, pop them in the fridge.
And it's perfect every time.
Perfect every single time. And this thing can run 24/7.
Yeah, and I'm guessing it's really cheap as well.
Well, what's cheap? Because if you look at the hours that it takes to do it, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Then you talk about people that get carpal tunnel. And,
I'm
got a sore back. And, sick days, holidays.
Yeah.
So
move that part of it.
If it's 20 grand, and I'm not suggesting 20 grand is cheap for me.
Yeah.
But if I can save. Oh, God, I don't. Would you believe that Jenna from Kenilworth Bakery just texted me? So we should cut this off.
No, that's funny. Her ears are burning.
She legitimately just texted me.
Yeah, just like, what flavour do you want?
So you take 20 grand out of that 20 grand could save you $60,000 a year in labor.
A year, yeah, exactly.
So
then we're losing a person.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So that's the next bit, the impact.
Mate, and if you think that is going away, you are high on drugs.
Yeah.
Because whether or not, pick an industry, it's coming at you.
Yeah.
If you can go to San Francisco, Los Angeles, I don't know about New York City, Las Vegas, and get driverless taxis.
Yeah, that still freaks me out. I'm not comfortable with that at all. I don't know why.
It's there. That technology's here right now. Like, it's fucking...
Maybe the fact that I'm on the road all the time. But that said, there's so many idiots on the road. Maybe better if no one was actually driving.
Yeah. And, mate, there's remember when the milk bladders came out for espresso bars?
Yep.
And that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to open the milk and pour it.
Yeah, it's just in there, in the machine. You just...
And you can tap...
Post-mix
small,
milk.
Medium, large, then texture it.
Yep.
Well, now there's
Texture.
a machine
Look at you
goes,
go, you bloody coffee nerd.
Now there's a machine that does all that for you, and the milk is perfect.
Yeah, every time.
So my question is, I feel bad for the people that are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah. There's a but coming.
No, but people will get a $4 coffee again.
So you think prices will come down if...
I can only speak on behalf of me.
Yeah.
If I don't have to put my prices up, I'm keeping them the same because I don't want you once. I want you 5 times a week.
Of course. Yeah.
So if I can retain the quality of our product, and I'm not suggesting we're going to go and replace all of our staff with robots.
Yeah.
But I'm suggesting if we don't need one kitchen hand on 7 days of the week to spend 3 hours rolling pizza dough.
That's worth something. Yeah.
Yeah. Or we can direct that somewhere else and make something even better.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at scale of economy, because the hard bit is when that kitchen hand's on holidays, when he's sick, when he breaks his hand or hurts his back, or everything goes to shit. So I look at it as it's a bit fail safe for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like an investment into the consistency of the business.
Yeah, and there's going to be restaurants out there, like basically all the restaurants that you've got in your portfolio at the moment, that you're not going to, like, it's not going to, the front of house stuff, and never touch. Like saying Market Bistro, you're never going to have robots getting around Market Bistro.
And I think that's the thing, is it's like, okay, if that impact of it changes the experience, and like I said, it doesn't make it better or worse, it just changes it. So there's a day that you'll go to the robot one, the izakaya, and have a bit of fun. The next day you're going to something else, and it's a completely different thing. I suppose the concern is, like you said, like if we're trying to, and it's not about trying to remove these jobs. I think that's the key thing as well. It's about trying to be more efficient.
Yeah.
And the result of that will mean potentially less jobs in that particular thing, but more somewhere else.
And make no mistake, this constant drive on wages to be increased, which, go on record as saying again, all the power to you.
Yeah.
Everybody is worth what they're worth. So go out there and negotiate, study, educate yourself, and earn $1 million a year. Everyone's got that ability to do that.
Sure.
If you want a bad
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But that push to increase minimum wage is driving that technology 1,000,000 times faster.
Yeah.
That's why it's coming on so fast.
Really? You think that's what it is?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, because this bullshit around inflation, I sit back and I laugh so much. Increase the minimum wage. I don't want to get into politics here, but increase the minimum wage. Oh, yeah, great. The price of the lettuce, the price of the fuel, the price of all the other shit goes up. Who's laughing all the way to the bank? Well, the fucking government, who get paid more tax because the
number goes up.
And people, when I explain that to some people, they really have never thought about it like that. I sit back and I go,
there's a reason. Yeah. Yeah, the house always wins.
Why are the people who've just received 3 pay rises still struggling with the cost of living?
Yeah, there's a problem somewhere else.
The price is just
the wages aren't
it's
the
a
issue.
Simple multiplier.
Yeah.
You know, and we're no different. So I would love this year or next year to open like a ramen joint or a sushi joint or a pizza joint that can sell $5 plates of food because we've got 3 staff in there, all having fun.
Yeah.
And it's a place you go and eat.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, is you take that wage out of the kitchen, you could potentially, and if that machine, whatever, automates something part of the process, in theory it makes selling that product quicker, easier. Potentially you need someone else at the front to help deal with that, because it's like, we can do this, we're better at this, and so it just gets moved to another part of the business.
I'm still talking about having staff in the kitchen and staff out the front, but if we can get even 50 or 60% of the staff who are automated or robots, and
Sorry, you say 50 or 60? Wow.
Yeah, there's no reason why that can't happen, mate. There's some McDonald's tearing it off now where there's 1 staff member.
Yeah, really.
And now, if you look at this is what I was trying to pull up before.
Yeah, this is the coffee robot.
Yeah, it's a full get-up.
So
it does everything.
Bubble tea robot offering hundreds of flavors. Is there pricing on those things?
No, coming soon.
Yeah.
Even you get it,
into your email there.
You can even.
So that's like a whole. What we're looking at, Corey. You might have to put this image up here, but it's basically a whole little fully enclosed cafe, basically, or barista setup
on wheels.
Yeah, wow.
So
great for functions, great for events, great for that kind of stuff as well. Well, you're saying just open a hole in the wall and just
buffet?
do that. Yeah, breakfast buffet
in a hotel.
Yeah. Well, we all know. Well, no, I probably should stop that sentence. But tell me about the last great coffee you had in a hotel.
Oh, I'm changing the topic. That GM still hasn't emailed me back. Yep. No, I'm moving on from that. But yes, I'm saying if I can have 50% of our things automated, and that anybody who's been to Japan and has gone to a great ramen shop, 95% of them are a vending machine at the front where you put your money in, you get your token, and then a very nice, polite person at the front door says, "Thank you." One person, and then you walk in, and you get sat down, and then you just get your soup put in front of you. Yeah. And there's a reason why it's cheap. Yeah. But it's still delicious because all of the energy, all the labor, all the cost has gone into producing something that's unbelievably yummy.
Yeah. Not doing everything else.
Not cleaning the floor because there's a robot scooting around. Yeah. Not taking the soup to the table because there's a robot doing that.
So there's still going to be a cost, right? To those things. And I think it's not about removing that cost completely from the business.
No.
It's just about reducing it more than anything else and trying to drive that bottom line so you're actually making more money out of every dollar you make.
Yeah.
Or take, I should say.
And if you're a consumer, have a look at the people who do embrace it. And if their prices haven't gone down, go to the guy that is doing it properly and fairly.
Right.
Because my objective would be purely to try and get the price of a bowl of ramen down, so everybody can have it.
And that's the thing. It's like, what's the number?
Yeah.
Like, what is the number that's going to, like you said, sell, but keep everyone really happy?
But people don't realize, mate, some of these restaurants, like the restaurants that you spit out, some of those joints are running on a 2 or 3% bottom line.
Yeah, restaurant margins are traditionally horrendous.
People don't realise that.
No, I was going to say, and I think we've spoken about it before, but I think it's something that we should speak about more because, someone said to me the other day, they're like, when you're running at sort of 15% profit, and I was like, in this business?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of, I know that like the stats that were out there was that the most are running somewhere between 4 and 7%.
Yeah.
And that there's not a lot above single digits for net profit, which is like, you're better off putting your money in the bank sometimes, which sounds horrible, but.
I know a very high profile restaurant in Sydney that probably everybody who's listening to this show definitely would know which one it is. So I won't say it, but I know factually back in the day, they were spending $17,000 a week in linen between napkins, tablecloths, chef's jackets, chef's aprons, waiters' aprons,
kitchen rags,
polishing cloths.
Yeah, the mats.
$17,000 a week.
That's
before you open the door.
That's a lot of money. So, that's almost untenable because, I mean, if you look at that cost and go, okay, we want that to be 1% of our costs for the week. That's almost impossible.
Yeah, and if your linen china glass is 1% of your turnover, you're fucking broke before you start.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people don't really understand. Like the nuances in the restaurant game, it's such a razor thin line.
Yeah.
You've got to be so careful.
And I think it's also it's continually having those conversations like this in terms of like, what's next? What do we need to, what can we do? I mean, where, for me, that's a lot of my role is like, how do we do two things? Make more money or take more revenue and cut costs.
Have you put any wine on running out of keg, out of beer taps?
Not at our current venues, no.
But are you a believer?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the same.
Yeah. So there's key kegs are probably the best for it, and yeah, I've done it before and seen it work really well. The thing is, it's like anything else. If the product going into the keg is shit, it's going to be shit coming out.
But there's some guys doing.
There's some good stuff, absolutely, yeah. But it's like same with cask wine. There's some great casks out around at the moment. So
you're taking a box getting delivered, stored, opened, bottle of wine going to the bar, waiter opening the bottle of wine, pouring.
Yeah.
Instead of it just one keg coming in, getting hooked to a cup link, and then going.
Yeah. Boom.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And all it is refining that and giving it more. So
it's like the slushie machine we talked about.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's just like, instead of having someone shake a cocktail, it's like it's here, it's ready to go.
Because, as I said to you, I think, what was the last time before, the cost of goods is relatively the same.
Yeah.
It's the labour.
It's the labour
that you save.
Yeah, okay.
On selling booze.
Okay, so here's a quick one for you. Because I've done this recently. I've made a decision to not go somewhere knowing that it was QR codes only. Do you think, or I'll just open forum, QR codes, good or bad?
I think it really depends on the venue.
Yeah.
That's
so
what I think.
If it's somewhere where, I don't know where the line is, but for me,
I don't like them.
It's really interesting because I was talking to my son about this recently. And he's like, no, they're great because he doesn't want to have to talk to anyone. So it's like, okay, well, I can just do it from here and it's fine. It's like,
I don't like them, but would I go to a venue with them? Yeah. If the
would
food
you not go to a venue if it had them only?
It depends. If it was a formal restaurant and you got $40 main courses, no. But if I was going to a place...
What about Rice Boy?
The hard bit about Rice Boy is we need to... we need to pace.
I was going to say, you need to stagger the orders because otherwise you're going to get munted.
Mate, every week we have people that go, why don't you put more tills in? Why don't you QR code? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do... Well, every decision based there is so we can make sure that your food leaves that kitchen within 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And
And
because
I think it's often a lot faster than that as well.
because we're
so,
geared to the teeth for it,
Yeah.
because we'll do 600 covers in a session.
yeah.
Like it's a lot.
And it is one of those things where having the system you have where you walk up, you order, that table, that counter service gives you the ability to measure that. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. If your restaurant sits 150, you can't get 150 orders at once. It just doesn't work.
Or people will stand in the line and go, there's a table there that's empty. Why can't I sit there? It's like, well, the kitchen is probably in the shit.
Yeah.
So you're going to sit there, then you're going to order, and then you're going to go, where's my food?
Yeah, it's taken 40
So
minutes for
for our model, which we know really well, people are way more forgiving in the line because we're just saying to you, it's going to be a little bit.
So it's basically the wait's going to happen. It's just where it happens.
And irrefutably, people are way more forgiving in the line
at the start.
This I can only speak about Ross.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so AI, and again, such burgeoning sort of industry. Really, at the moment, everyone's talking about it. Corey's got a pretty excited about some things that he's found today to help him out with editing software and things like that. What are the other things that you've seen in the restaurant? Is there anything you've specifically gone, holy shit, that's a game changer?
Look, some of the things for us, the automation's been things like fry filtration is really good. There's a lot of fryers out there now where you press a button and it will filter the oil into another tank
internally,
clean it, and then refill it.
Yep.
And that saves 45 minutes at the end of each night.
I remember changing oil, filtering oil through the big old machines. You have to wheel in and drop the oil into that. It's 180 degrees, and
And just think about places like KFC. And, in comparison to that, there's other fried chicken offers around that sell a million times that. But there's no downtime because and the more you filter the oil, the longer shelf life or the longer the lifespan.
It's cleaner oil, so it lasts longer.
But that gear is $30,000.
Yeah.
The fryer in comparison to a fryer $6,000. But so it's still expensive.
But over how long is this going to pay for itself? That's the thing. And again, you rip the labor out of the business straight away.
Yeah.
So you don't even have that when you open the doors. It's like that's a win.
Yeah, 100%. That's a big one. I think the pizza game is changing really quickly.
It's more about technology for you right now rather than specific AI tools that you've seen. That are like, well, that's something that's going to work for restaurants.
Equipment. And we're not looking at this stage. We're not looking at replacing there's gear out there at the moment that's been developed for hotels that offer a smaller reduced menu for 24-hour room service, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to have a chef there.
Yep.
And they're designed in particular for Asian restaurants that do wok cooking.
Yeah.
And they look like a cement mixer, a little small cement mixer, keeps spinning and that puts the vegetables in and puts the meat in and then adds a little bit of peanut oil and then spits it out into a bowl, and then all the server has to do is throw some garnish on there, put a cloche on it and take it to the room.
Yeah, that's frightening.
That technology
exists.
now.
And that's, I suppose that's the thing, is the different cuisines. Like, there's certain things I just wonder whether it can ever be made by anyone but a human or anything but a human. But
I agree. Things like dumplings for Asian restaurants, there's technology out there now where you can make the mix. So if you're doing a pork dumpling, you can make the mix, and then you can you load the dumpling skins, and then throw it in, and then it spits out a perfect dumpling, and then you can add bits and pieces to it, so it can go from the dumpling into a tray, into the freezer, or onto a tray, into a box, into a freezer.
Yeah. So that's all just like manufacturing, isn't it? It's a scary sort of thing.
Yeah, but you can imagine for us, we have two chefs that are rolling spring rolls and dumplings 24/7.
Yeah.
Like it's so, and I'm not interested in taking all that labor out, because all I'm looking at doing is saying, well, if we can make a spring roll or we can make a dumpling, it's going to save us $50,000 a year at least. If I can get a machine that rolls those pizza balls, it will save me $50,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that type of thing we're looking at.
So the commercial decisions rather than fashion of keeping up with whatever's the newest technology.
Yeah, and I reckon that restaurant robot stuff, we're probably a couple of years away from seeing some big impacts on that. But watch this space. I reckon in the next 12 months, somebody will open a really fun restaurant and there'll be robots.
I think it suits a certain category more than anything else.
But I think that what will happen, I think I've said this before, I would go as far as saying that we're in a really exciting but scary time. The restaurant game could go one or two ways, and it could be that really formal restaurants survive, but it's 500 a head to eat there, and they're open 3 days of the week.
Yep.
And the super wealthy are the only people that will go there or on an extremely special occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Or that will happen, and the lowbrow Macca's, KFC, those real fast casual takeaway joints will prosper because they'll double down on that because no one gives a fuck, and they'll
because it's all about price.
Yeah. Because do you care who's frying your nuggets when you're going to KFC?
Personally, I do. Yeah, I generally ask. There's one guy that's very, very good.
I'm suggesting that is bullshit.
Yeah, correct.
But I'm saying to you, if you had and I know you pretty well, if I told you, I had the greatest ramen of my life in Mooloolaba.
Yeah.
And it was $10. Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah. So you don't care if a robot's serving you, or you don't care?
No, I don't think I would. I think you're right.
You wouldn't.
I think the other thing that
do you remember when the regatta reopened and they did that robot
boathouse?
Yeah, and they had that steak conveyor thing that cooked all the steaks automatically, and it fucking went awry.
Did it?
And there was like 700 corporates in there on a Friday lunch. I remember that was like week 2 it opened.
It's like a conveyor.
It was like you press a button for a medium rare, and all that went to custard.
Oof.
And well dones were coming out in medium rares, and it was a shit show.
Jesus. Yeah,
it was like
that at all. Who was there? Who was that? Frank? No, it wasn't Frank Carenti. No, he went to Norman.
Mate, all I can tell you is that just so happens that afternoon I was in the bullpen at Cha 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 having a beer on my break,
hearing about it,
and watching all these stockbrokers and lawyers and property developers streaming in from the regatta, fucking furious because their Friday steak was
that's a thing
proper.
Oh,
and
that was a thing.
Cha Cha got belted when they reopened the regatta, and then they fucked it.
Jesus,
I think they came back pretty well.
Yeah, but, that's hard to come back. And
so you
like
think about AI and think about robotics, and sometimes you got to be a bit careful.
Automation doesn't always work. There is a lot going on in the wine space with people talking about AI in terms of assisting people with choices.
Oh yeah,
particularly in that retail space where you've got people sort of subscribe to a pack once a month or every quarter or whatever it might be, and AI will listen to sort of take in all the data of what they like and spit out. Yeah, that's why I was prompting you, because I know that was something that you've been looking at. Or
it works pretty well. I've only had one miss, and it was last week.
Oh, really?
I can't remember the name. I should have taken a photo of it. I think I might have, because the wine the wine that it chose for me was really sweet. I couldn't drink it. I mean, Melissa and I sat down and we went, ugh.
White wine?
It was Chardonnay-esque, but no, I didn't take a photo of it.
Chardonnay-esque and
it was a European,
right?
Or it might have been a Vouvray or something.
The Vouvray,
and it was literally it was like ice Riesling. It was
okay. And that's the thing. I think there's always going to be, but the humans miss as well. Like if someone asks me for a recommendation, I'm going to miss.
Yeah.
We're all human except for the robots, but mistakes will always happen at some point in time. I think the thing is that the human can correct it quickly, whereas AI can't. Yeah. Particularly if it's been sent to your house, it's like, sure, you can send it back.
I think you just need to make sure that you've got some systems that cover you for that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that'd be my thing. It's like, this is horrendous. This is nothing like what I said. This, and this, and it gave me that. At no point did I say that. It's like, well, okay, so that I obviously would refine over time.
But I've been to Market Wine Store, we've got fantastic staff there, extremely knowledgeable, and I'm on this manic whiskey journey at the moment, and I've got 3 or 4 bottles of whiskey at home because I hate peat, and I'm like, why is it peat?
Just to be clear, PEAT.
Yeah, peated whiskey, I hate it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, my first question is it peated? And they were like, no, it's not. And you can't expect everybody to have tried every single whiskey. And I went home and it's like, fuck, it's peated.
It's peaty, yeah.
Is AI going to correct that. I just think for us, we needed to make sure we've got a backup plan. So if one of those cartons go out and you get a really sweet Vouvray, or you get a peated whiskey, that we've got we know what to do from there.
Yeah, exactly. What's the recovery?
Yeah.
Like you said, like steak.
Take it back.
The steak robot breaks down. That's how you deal with it.
Yep.
You know, it's the same conversation we're always going to have. And I think that's the thing, is that still needs a human element to it, because I assume that, you know, that idea of empathy and understanding and that kind of is something that we can't necessarily replicate right now.
Correct.
So thankfully, but hopefully, but I think it is something that is going to come in. It's going to come in with lots of different things. I don't use it like very often.
Yeah.
I actually used it today for a question, of which I knew the answer to, but I wanted to just double check. You know, when you're like, oh, I think I know the answer to this, so I sort of went put it in. I was like, yeah, and here it was. It was sorted. I'm like, okay, cool, I was right. So I sort of use it as a double check.
There's some fantastic email.
We've got that. We use that.
For somebody like me, who I'm just the worst speller in the world, it's so
handy.
I can talk to it and it will draft it in an email and stick it in my draft box.
Yeah.
And then I can go and read it and go, that sounds
well
good.
done. Well, that soun's better than I was ever going to write. Thanks very much.
I mean, the time, because I use a voice recorder on my phone when I'm driving to work. I'll just speak to it with Zasha because I'm thinking about it. I'll go, hey, Zasha, can you please da-da-da.
Yeah.
By the time she gets to work, there's 8 or 9 things that I've sent her in voice recording for her to get onto.
Yeah.
If that takes that job away from her, because I can just do it, say, draft an email to Peter and and then it does it, and won't send it until I can read it.
Until you authorize it.
I just say to people, before you get scared of it, you need to embrace it.
Well, I think you need to try and understand it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because my father, he was a pretty smart dude. He said to me, don't ever fight a battle you can never, ever win. It's coming.
Yeah.
And there's not anything that anybody can do about it. So embrace it, understand it, see how it can work in your business.
Yeah.
Or you might want to use a word that I hate, pivot, and try and figure out another strategy. You know what I mean? Like there's
going to open up a new window. There's
going to be things out there that it won't be able to do, which will
create a niche.
Correct. That will be extremely valuable, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know, so what is that niche? I don't know. I've got to understand it more.
Yeah.
We should do a big session, and I'll take a whole bunch of video from this trade show and see what's over there, because this trade show is the biggest in the world, and some of the stuff that will no doubt will be in there will be, you know.
Has it happened for a couple of years, or because
every year? I think it stopped for
COVID. Stopped for a couple.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, because I know it's been around for ages. So.
Yeah. It's very, very good. It's worthwhile going to. Is there any technology out there that you've seen that goes, what about even picking grapes? Do you think that's ever going to be a thing?
What's happening?
Is it?
Yeah, totally. I saw a video yesterday of that wasn't picking, that was spraying, but there's machinery there's optical sorters that have been around for quite some time now as well. So you can now have an optical sorter on a picker. So basically what that means is the equipment can go into the vineyard. It basically straddles the grapes. So if you imagine rows of grapes, so it sort of drives down either side, it picks them, and then it can optically sort them. So it'll... What do you mean?
Like, is there like arms?
Kind of like fingers of some kind. I didn't actually see that bit, but machine picking's been happening forever.
Because the orange, apple, nut,
they're all
it's
on
violent.
That.
It
it shakes them off. Yeah, this thing you can't do that. Like, you've got to be a little bit more gentle than that.
Have you seen the council trucks in Valencia in Italy with the oranges, the trees that line the streets in Valencia?
They go around
and they just scoot a big,
like, skirter or net or underneath. You vibrate them,
And there's millions of oranges that come out.
What do they do with it? They sell them, obviously.
I guess, because it'll just make a mess on the street, and then fruit bats and blah, 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 blah.
Maybe more about, the pest stuff. That'd be frightening. But there's a lot of that technology in vineyards, certainly, that's happening.
Because that must be a horrendous job. Because
picking?
And when the winemaker says, now.
Yeah. And that's,
like, your window's small, right?
Well, the thing with winemaking, the two things that I say are the most critical skills are blending and then when to pick, but in the reverse order. So you got to pick first, and if you get that wrong, that's your year done.
And in some of those grapes, pardon my ignorance here, but I have some grapes that are quite ripe here, but down further they can be quite green.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. So you get that. Well, that can happen on the same bunch.
And is that the winemaker looks at the bunch and goes, not that one?
Correct. Yeah. So the sorting, whereas if you use an optical sorter, so it's basically technology that will it'll look at the grapes.
Chat GPT, budding.
And basically go no, yes, no, yes, no, yes to sort them
Holy
out. So it's pretty cool. The other stuff that is again been around for a little while is drone. A lot of drone stuff happening in vineyards as well for sprays and things like that. Even in the biodynamic world, like because there's still preparations that you spray. So you can do that with a drone. Obviously, they're big fucking drones. They're not just like the little guys that we're, Corey's flying overhead to get great shots. These are things that are massive.
Well, I've seen the fishing drones up at Fraser.
Similar sort of thing.
They throw the lure 200 meters offshore.
Yeah. So there is a lot of that coming. There's a lot of it starting to happen. I think some countries are better at adopting it than others. Sure. I know there's lots of trials happening with things. Who was it that was doing the trial this week with the spraying? It was fully autonomous, this vehicle. It's always being pulled by a GPS-driven like little tractor. So there's no one anywhere near it. Just a little tractor pulling this thing up and down the rows, spraying evenly and everything else.
The big combines in the soy fields in America are basically
they're all
AI,
that now, right? Yeah. What's that movie, Interstellar, where they all shit themselves?
Yeah. Well, mate, that's just and the fact that they can get the crops so straight as well.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of things like that. That again, that will have an impact on their bottom line. You know, potentially, particularly if like hand picking is expensive, but it is precise. Yeah. And there's plenty of people that I was speaking to someone this week about this, but they were, they're talking to who was it? I can't remember who it was now, but they were. Someone wanted to know about how they treated all their pickers and everything because it was like an audit for making sure everyone was being looked after, and it's like these guys get looked after like nothing else because it's a specialist skill. Yeah. If you've got great pickers, you will save money. Yep. Because they won't give you shit product, and they'll give you the better product off the vine quicker. And that's just going to have an impact. So,
do you think any of the big labels are ever going to trust that? But like the Domain, Robotic, Conti's,
no, absolutely not.
They're
too small,
and they're picking way less fruit, right?
Well, yes, like the tons per acre are so far down. So there's less bunches on the actual vines to start with. They're older vines, so they're producing less. You don't want to rattle those things. You don't want them to bruise or damage any of those vines. When those vines per vine, what they're worth in the great vineyards of the world, it's like, imagine if like something, the robot comes in and like snaps off one vine. It's like, that's $100,000. Thanks very much, or more, because it's not. That's going to take
years.
It's 5 years really for a commercial crop. So you're looking at probably to get to where it was, it could be another 40 or 50 years.
Have you seen the directly off topic, but just because you're doing that,
strange.
Madame Clicquot, the shorts of that movie.
No, not yet. No, the book's amazing.
You've read the book.
Yeah. It's an incredible book. So I'm looking forward to that. So,
but yeah, that part of the world I always think about. How is technology going to impact those great wine houses? It probably won't.
A lot of those smaller, the great smaller houses, particularly in Burgundy, they're still using horses.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're using Clydesdales. Like they're
limestone
back in
caves
time. Exactly right. They'll take an order on a tablet, not a HP tablet.
But you can't
an actual rock.
But you can't tell me that bagged wine, which is a massive business, they're not going to be using that technology to pick grapes.
They already are. Commercial picking. Mechanical picking's been happening for years.
Why?
Because it's cheap.
To keep the price down.
Absolutely.
I don't reckon they're trying to do it to make more money. They're just trying to keep that price affordable.
I think
for
it's
everyone.
probably a combination of column A and column B, depending on which company you're talking about.
Maybe, I agree. But for me, I want to embrace it. So I want to be able to bring back a product that is an everyday food that people can eat and enjoy, and
at a great price.
It's not going to cost them $50.
I think that's the difference.
I tried to do it with fish and chips and got fucking punished for it because I just can't do it.
And that's, again, you got a perishable product.
Yep.
That is, people are very finicky about as well. It's like, okay, that makes it tough, right?
Or a lot of fish and chip guys don't have the same morals and principles with food that I do. Yeah. Like, I don't want to use a piece of shit cod from Zambia and crumb it and fry it with chips that were never really a potato. They're a powdered potato made into a French fry. Yeah. Like, I wanted to use decent chips. I wanted to use good frying oil. And I wanted to use local reef fish. I fucking can't do it, mate. Yeah. Just can't do it. Well, I can't anyway.
You can do it, but you got to charge $45 for the fish and chips. which is just never going to work.
No. And I went in there ignorant, and I tried my best. I couldn't do it. But I reckon with the assistance of some AI, I could probably do it with Asian food. Maybe even pizza. But Harry will never do that. And I'm not doing pizza
Harry's not
without
going
Harry.
anywhere anyway.
No,
so
I'm not doing anything.
I can just imagine Harry talking to the machine. This wouldn't be pleasant.
Yeah. Fuck you!
Poor machine puts in for workers' comps.
Because he's kicked.
It
the
breaks
fucking
down
thing.
because Harry's kicked the hell out of the base of it. But
But yeah, I mean, there's going to be some stuff out there I think is going to be fantastic,
Yeah.
and will have a hugely positive impact on our very much loved industry, and I think it's going to help us.
yeah,
I hope we embrace it, and we also make the systems that can cope with how fast it's coming, because that's the thing that sort of scares me a bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming really quickly. I've no doubt that I'm going to get over there and just be shocked because of the stuff that's coming through my social media now, just in the lead up to the trade show. It's like, holy shit.
yeah.
It's
Eyes
pretty
will be
hectic.
open. As you said earlier, watch this space.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's exciting. There's never been a better time in the world to live than right now, I reckon, Pete.
Or
It's
drink.
exciting.
Best time ever to drink wine as well. Cheers,
Good on
mate.
you, mate. Thanks.